and welcome to the Gary Dunn Show. I'm your host, Gary Smith, and on today's show, as always, say it with me, we're going to talk to Coach Dunn about this past weekend's game against IUP. We'll look at everything that happened in the PSAC this weekend, look at some standings and schedules upcoming, and then talk a little bit about Edinboro, but it's a little weird because there's a bye week this week, but that's in the second half of the show. Coach, welcome. I've been teasing you all year about Cardiac Cow, and, heck of a finish. I mean, you took it to 60 minutes and beyond, but just an amazing afternoon of football. Congratulations to your team and your staff, because that's an instant classic.
Yeah, it's always crazy. You know, every Coal Bowl I think that I've been associated with since I've been back in 2016 has been crazy, and wild finishes and heartbreaks. And, 2 years ago here we lost on a gut-wrenching call. So that's just kind of the way this series has been the last few years. And
it's a rivalry game. We talked about it last week, but what the rivalry means, you're seeing everybody in recruiting. Both teams know each other. But I just thought that the way that game was just a hard-fought college football game. There was, beyond the rivalry, there was a lot at stake. And starting off that first half, I think there was maybe 3 possessions because you guys came out, ran the ball, controlled the offense, and then started the scoring with a long touchdown pass that really got the crowd and your team involved. Yeah,
I thought offensively we played well. We carried the game. If you look at the stats, we ran the ball effectively. We were good on third downs. Time of possession was 47 minutes to their 27. I thought our offense at times played really well and carried. We just shot ourselves in the foot at the wrong time. The first possession of the game, we drive down, we get to the 30-yard line. I think we get a penalty. We had a false start, and then we took a sack, and that kind of once you get in now in college football, once you're inside the 35-yard line, it's 2-down territory. But then we got the sack to knock us out of field goal range. So that was the first drive. We started well, but the whole game, I thought we were dominating the game. The scoreboard wasn't showing it. Offensively, we made some mistakes. I don't know if we were pressing. I didn't like our tempo. It just wasn't us offensively. But I thought we were moving the football and we were controlling the clock. And I know we'll flip to both sides of the ball, but I don't remember a more dominating defensive performance than our guys put forth Saturday. Our defensive staff did an unbelievable job. Our kids played well. They created turnovers. They tackled. They sacked the quarterback. If you look at their 10 points, 3 of them, we muff a punt and give it to them and then hold them to 3 there. And then they had 1 drive in the game, which was aided by 3 personal foul calls. Now, we're going to show the highlights. Folks can go back and watch the YouTube and decide whether those were interference or not. But other than that, they don't move the ball. Before the last drive, I think they had 120 yards in offense. And, we had them to 2nd and long, and then we get an interference call. And then, calls are calls. There's calls all over that game on both sides, but really that was the only drive they had, and 30 yards of it was pass interference. So I don't even think they get down there if we don't have those calls. But what a dominant performance by our defense.
Well, you say about the turnovers and stuff, and we talked a little bit last week about the fact that as a fan, I was impressed with the way your team has finished plays. Let's talk about that first turnover. Their quarterback trying to gain yards. Got a defensive guy in there, smartly punches the ball out,
yep.
and you're set up, at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, so we start practice with it. We call it our main thing. It's tackling and takeaways. Our defensive staff preaches it. They work it. We start every practice with it, and you could really see our guys practicing what our coaches are preaching. But, yeah, we got 2 turnovers right around both, one on the 35, I think the other one at midfield, and offensively we just shot ourselves in the foot. We had some things that were open. We had some run games things that gosh, when our guys come in today and watch the film, offensively we're going to be sick because we should have put some points up on the board. But you get into the fourth quarter, we get the ball, we take a long drive, and I'm going to take the blame for this. I screwed up. I should have kicked the field goal. I'll tell the team that at this point. We were up 7-3. Kind of the way it unfolded is we thought we got the first down. The official on our side had marked it where we thought he marked it where it was a first down. The official on the other side had it shorter than the one on our side. Well, Coach Salisbury called out his next personnel group to run on the field because we think it's first and goal at the 2, and it came up short. So in my head, I'm thinking, okay, let's line up. Let's see how they're lined up. I'm going to probably take a delay a game at that point, move the ball back 5 yards, not waste the timeout, kick the field goal. Well, the defensive front that they had lined up, I loved the play call. And I'm going to be aggressive with our offense. I believe in our guys. Hindsight's 20/20. I should have kicked the field goal there, but I did it. And I'm going to apologize to the team on that because you never want to be a reason. They work year-round extremely hard, and I never want to be a reason that we cost them, and I almost did Saturday. Because if we kick the field goal there, the game's probably over.
Well, on the other side of that, too, if you scored the touchdown, the game's probably over, too, just the way it is. And, I bet you anybody in the locker room says, Coach, we're going to go for that, 9 times out of 10. Usually it's the other way. Coach like, no, we're going to kick the field goal. But
I got to be the voice of reason in that situation, and I screwed it up. That's something that I'll put in my Rolodex for future years and realize that we've got a really good kicker. I'm sure we'll get to it.
Mm-hmm.
He's a tough kid, and I should have put him out there to take the 7-3 lead in that situation, and I screwed that up.
Well, after that, IEP goes on the drive. They score, but I think there was no sense of panic in the stadium because we've seen your team time after time go down and get yourself in position. I think everyone thought that worst case scenario, you're going to have a chance to tie this game, maybe have a chance to win it in regulation. Your team goes down and has a heck of a drive to even get in position, and then the chaos started. You go out, kick a field goal, and it's a rule that I was talking to Jack Benedict, the longtime announcer for IEP. He said he's never seen that play. I've seen it once in a Steeler-Brown game, but kick is blocked. But your team has the wherewithal not to put their heads down, not to chug off the field. They got on the ball, first down.
Well, it's funny. Let's go back to the play before that. If we execute the play before that, we probably walk into the end zone with a run by Bobby Boyd, and we miss a block that I still can't believe because we had the perfect play call. It was 3rd and 4. We miss a block. We don't execute. And that's kind of the story of the day offensively is we had a breakdown here or a breakdown there. Otherwise, we score a ton of points. And, so we missed the block. We line up for the field goal. What a heads-up play by Nashawn Jackson. So happy for him as a senior and a leader on our team. And the funny thing is, if you watch it, Anthony Beacote knows right away, our kicker is pushing Nashawn. Mm-hmm. When Nashawn picks up the ball, and Nashawn's kind of shocked he has it, go back and watch the film. Anthony Beacote's a heads-up, intelligent, smart player, and he's pushing. I've never seen a 175-pound kicker pushing an offensive guard. But we preach playing 4 quarters, and we don't worry about the last play. We play the next, and that was Nashawn's next play to make. So huge heads-up play on our part. Wish I could have said I coached it. The guys did it on their own, but we'll take it.
Let me tell you what. So you get the first down. There's a long delay because the officials had to go back and forth. But just talk about Anthony Beacote having to stand out there. Yeah. But just he's one of the best kickers in the conference, best kickers in Division II in the country. But just to have the composure and everything to know that get another chance of this, and it wasn't an easy kick situationally just because everything was on the line, but also the win, we didn't talk about that. The elements you're going, that was luckily in that situation, you're with the win, but it was a pretty stiff wind and nothing's ever given.
So it's funny. We played up there last year and the wind was something. And I got to the field on Saturday, and the first thing I noticed was the wind.
Almost the same wind.
Okay, so there you go through all the situations in your head, right? So trying to remember it. They won the toss, I believe, and deferred, which we had to take the ball. Mm-hmm. So in the second half, they have to take the ball, and I get to choose the wind. So I chose to have the win in the 4th quarter. I'm very, very glad that I did. But go back to the first kick. It was an operational kick. It was a snap and a hold. The snap was a little bit inside. We didn't get it down clean, so Anthony couldn't get underneath the football. So after that one, I talked to him. I said, "What happened?" And he said, "Coach, we weren't cleaning our operation." So I had no doubt he was going to make the kick. Like, I have ultimate confidence in Anthony. Pretty much we're 50 yards and in. That kid's just a gutsy player that I had no doubt we went out. We did kind of change up our protection a little bit. We moved one guy over to one side and moved another guy to a different side because we knew they were going to be bringing it from the field. Protection was great, right down the middle. I mean, Anthony that sums up Anthony's career.
Well, clutch kick sends it to overtime now. All that excitement of the kick going to overtime, but you have to get your team ready. You know, there's another who knows how many because overtime is not timed in college football. So how tough was it for you to get your team back on the page? Say, hey, this isn't over.
Listen, I think we dominated the game for probably 58 minutes, even though score might not have showed it, and I made a mistake in not putting us up a touchdown. Our kids believed. I think they knew they dominated the football game. We get to overtime. Our defense was playing their hearts out. You take one drive and a couple interference penalties away, then in a muff punt, we probably throw a shutout.
Probably shutout, yeah.
So, there was no panic. And this group's different. They're a different group than there's never any panic with this group. When we were down 10 a few weeks ago, no panic. We got the ball with 7 minutes left to go another week, and we got to put a drive together, no panic. We got in and we had some success. I know their first down play, they tried throwing an RPO, and I think we batted it down, which now in overtime, when we talk about overtime, well, I'm not going to tell you. I guess that's trade secrets.
Keep it secret.
When we talk about overtime, there's things that we say, this is how we want to pursue overtime. And so when you get to 2nd and 10, a little bit tougher. I think they ran the ball, we stopped them there, got the 3rd and long and made a nice play. And then, I was kind of surprised they chose to play that end of the field. I'm assuming they chose that because of our band. I'm assuming they chose our student section and our band, which was phenomenal. I think they chose that side of the field to play, but their kid made a good kick. I mean, it was windy, into the wind, made a great kick.
Yeah, it definitely was not a given kick going to the wind, but then you're down 3, your offense goes out, and you get down, nice play, pass to the outside, and then the touchdown pass, the touchdown run by Davis Black. Just me made a move. We have, after the highlight package, our man J.J. Robinson was on the field. He had some stuff, but he was right in the end zone, and you see the move he makes, and it's unbelievable. And I think any of us could have gotten after that move.
I will tell you that we executed that play to perfection. We had lined up in a trips bunch set, and you get a timeout in each overtime period. So it's 3rd down. I'm not going to save the timeout for nothing, right? So we used it because I wanted to talk about it. It was 3rd and maybe 3 from the 3-yard line. We went out in a little bit of a different set, but I will tell you Davis wanted the ball. I will tell you that we had a run-pass option in that situation. So if they play man coverage and blitz, we have this. If they play zone, we have this. And they played zone, and Jaheim Bassam did an unbelievable job of knocking the 3 technique to the B gap and then climbing to the backer. We actually had our tailback as an extra blocker that didn't have to block anybody. I mean, he almost got in Davis's way. In my head, I'm thinking, get out of Davis's way, he's going to go score. But great ending, and it's the way it should have ended, to be honest with you, because we dominated that football game.
So he goes in, celebration, Cole Pell Trophy goes up, but, I don't know if this was trending, but, a couple years ago, the hashtag was Gronk Spike, but now maybe Dunn Spike. I didn't see it. I saw it on film, and I caught out of the corner of my eye. I saw the ball go in the air, and I'm like, what happened down there?
I'm not crazy about that. I'd rather him just hand the ball to the official and go celebrate with his teammates.
Well, I met you after the speech.
After the game. Yeah, that was a little inside deal we had with our guys. And it just happened. Our kids have worked so hard and battled and stay together, and they get along well. Our team culture is strong, and it's fun to watch them have success because of all that they do. Playing college football is not easy. Getting here on August 6th, and your only days off are on Sunday, and everybody's banged up, and everybody's tired, and to watch them just battle and compete for. We talk to our guys all the time about 60 minutes. 60 minutes. I don't care. Turn the scoreboard off. We're going to play for 60 minutes, and then we'll look up. And again, this week we needed all of them and a little extra, but just happy the way our guys compete. Now we got to get back to work. There's, our offensive performance kind of shot ourselves in the foot all day long with some little mistakes, but we made enough plays when we had to, and I was really happy with that last drive. The drive before that, where we get down to the 1-yard line and I screw us up, was a textbook drive, and then we get the ball back in a 2-minute situation. And drive down there, we started to execute the drive before that, and we continued it. But just happy we made plays when we needed to, and that's the game of football.
Well, let's take a look back at the Coal Bowl game for this past weekend. You can see highlights, and then after the normal highlight packages, our man J.J. Robinson was on the field, so you get a little different view of a couple of the key plays in the fourth quarter, and then we'll look back at highlights from last year's game against Edinburgh, who will be the next opponent in a couple weeks. We'll talk about that, and then we'll look at everything in the PSAC. So you're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.
Play action. Throws it down the field, and wide open is Willis, and Willis, touchdown, Vulcans. Little option play, decides to keep it. Ball's punched out on the ground, not sure who has it, and it looks like it will be Vulcans football. Under play action, ball's intercepted. Looks like by number 4, Rashawn Murray. Kick is up. And it is good this time. Eye for him. Hands it off to Younger. And the touchdown for the Crimson Hawks. Takes a snap. Kick is blocked! It's blocked! The ball is taken. Not sure exactly who had it. Kick is up, past the line this time, and it's good. That kick is up. And it's good. Drops back the pass. Is going to keep it himself. Take it up the middle. Touchdown. Touchdown, Vulcans.
Leader right here. Peace out, West Champ.
Snap, kick is up. And the kick from Reed is good. First points of the game, 8:29 left to go here in the first quarter. Edinburgh lead 3-0. Play action pass, quick throw. That pass going to be tipped and intercepted. Black gets the snap, throwing, firing, catching, and scoring. It's Eric Willis III. From Edinburgh, and it looks like it's not going to work out. Stopped right at the door. The ball's out. Handoff to McCann, and McCann gets into the end zone for the touchdown. And after all that, the Vulcans finally break the seal. Handoff to McCann again, and McCann untouched into the end zone for the Vulcan touchdown. Second of the day for him. Bernard gets the snap, looking, throws it straight to Toby, who picks it off. Toby can go the other way, going to get flipped overhead out of bounds at the 30-yard line. Play action pass, throw towards the back of the end zone, caught for the touchdown. Amari Hopkins pulls in the score, and the Vulcans able to push this lead even further. Snap, kick, beat goes up. Biko's kick is good.
And welcome back to the Gary Dunn Show. You just saw highlights from everything Colbo related, and you looked at highlights from last year's game at Edinboro. And Coach, before we break down in 2 weeks' opponent, we'll talk about the bye week and everything like that. We'll take a look at and put a bow on this past weekend's action in the PSAC on the conference scoreboard. Again, nothing more to say. Cal 16-13 over IUP. Gannon coming back against Edinboro 25-21. Lockhaven coming up just short against East Stroudsburg 38-35. Westchester beating Millersville 41-23. Bloomsburg over Shippensburg 20-10. Kutztown shutting out Shepherd 24-0. And then Seton Hill beating Clarion 31-16. And Coach, we have to look at the standings right now because we're at that time of the year and you see an asterisk next to the California name. We didn't talk about that, but that game, the win on Saturday clinches a spot in the PSAC title game. So, so we talked about a few weeks ago, conference play starts, you have everything to play for, and that's one thing you can check off that that you're playing for. It's not just a regular game on the 16th, it's a title game.
Yeah, we've got a good Edinboro football team coming in here before that, so our focus is going to be this week, us getting better on our bye week. There's obviously a ton of things from Saturday that we want to clean up. We're going to work extremely hard on the Vulcans this week of cleaning some things up and working some things that we need to work. But yeah, our kids have put us in a great position. When we come in on August 6th and we talk about our team goals, that was one of them. So we've checked one of them off, but we've got a lot more to play for. So we're not going to pat ourselves on the back. We're going to work hard this week at getting better against us and start to introduce the schemes that Edinboro runs, and then we'll really hit on Edinboro next week. But we've got more to play for.
Yeah, and unless you've been sitting under a rock, you're aware that this is a weird, unique situation where there's a bye week. Every team in the West had a bye week this year due to Mercyhurst leaving the conference. As a coach, I'm sure the answer is probably going to be you want to play every week.
I don't want to play. I hate bye weeks.
I was going to say, okay. Yeah. And especially this time of year, you're late in the season.
Yeah, we're creatures of habit as football coaches. So we met as a staff this morning, and I kind of laid out the week on how we're going to do it and what our message is. And I was actually talking to a friend of mine who's a head coach and kind of asked him because he's had bye weeks. He's at the FCS level. And I said, all right, how do you handle them? What do you do? And he kind of gave me some tips on things that he did or would change or do different. So, I've talked to a few people. I've done research because we haven't had a bye week this late in the season since I can't think of one. We haven't had one. So, we're going to work on getting better. We're going to work on our fundamentals, our techniques, and cleaning some things up that we need to. But if you're asking me, I'd rather play. Now, I'm sure the guys would rather have a bye week. We are banged up. It's the game of football. Everybody this time of year is feeling the same way. So we get a chance to we're still going to practice and we're going to work hard, but maybe less contact this week than we typically do to kind of maybe rest a few guys.
And I know you've already started looking at Edinboro, and they've had a season. They've been up and down. They've been all over. But what have you seen offensively? Because it seems like they've given some teams fits, some teams no fits, but it just seems like they're all over the place.
They are a really good football team, and this isn't coach speak. They've probably played the hardest schedule in Division II. And when you look at their schedule and who they've played and how they've played them, they haven't played well late, but they're capable of beating anybody. So if you look at their early schedule, they play East Stroudsburg, who currently has one loss. They play Kutztown, who is currently undefeated. They beat an FCS Robert Morris team out of the NEC and kind of beat them handedly. They took Slippery Rock to the wire. They beat Indiana. They've just dropped some late games. They're a talented football team. I'll tell you what, offensively, they're very multiple. They're going to give you a ton of looks. They're going to, their quarterback's a good player. He's an experienced player. They've got good skill kids, but they're going to do a lot very multiple on offense. They can throw it. They can run it. They're going to give us, a good plan, and then defensively the same way. Very multiple. They'll be in a 3-down front, then they'll walk a backer up, then they'll go to a 4-down front. They'll play man coverage. They'll play zone coverage. They'll play 3 safeties. They play a little bit of everything. And then they're probably one of the best teams we've seen on special teams. They've got an excellent kicker. They got the leading punt. I think the kid was an All-American last year, who also plays defensive back for them. So. And their head coach runs their special teams, and he always does a great job with special teams. So it's going to be a tough game. There's, in this year in the PSCC, probably more than any year that since 2016 is everybody can beat everybody. And I preach to our guys, like, you got to show up and play, and we got to play a lot better offensively than we did this week to give ourselves a chance to have success.
And once again, that game will be on November 9th, not this weekend. So. Can kind of recover, get your supplies ready for the following week's tailgate. And that's something you mentioned it a little bit. We'll go back to IP real quick. Mention the band and the cheerleaders, but the crowd was really into it. That was a great college football crowd.
It was. And we talk about it all the time. I mean, when those two schools come together and the rivalries that we have, it's funny. God bless my wife. My niece got married this weekend, but my wife still threw a tailgate before the wedding, but she had to leave the game early. My daughter was in the wedding. So my wife left, was listening to the game on the radio, texting my daughter who's in the wedding. But yeah, so but what I was saying is, like, Terry O'Shea had a friend that was that graduated from IUP, played at IUP. I talked to President Anderson after the game, and President Driscoll was there. They were standing together. Okay. So just a great rivalry and great crowd. To have those two games back to back is really hard. Because I mean the crowd at homecoming was crazy, and have another great crowd and have alumni come back 2 weeks in a row. And I just thank them because people have other things going on in their life, but for them to get back to Addison Stadium 2 weeks in a row is just kind of a testament to our alumni and our fans on how we do things around here.
But a reminder, moving forward, no weddings.
Yeah,
no weddings between August 31st and December 15th.
Yes,
so
agreed.
Do them in the summer.
Or
beautiful
spring.
Weather.
Spring weddings.
Spring's perfect.
Springs are beautiful.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule. That doesn't include Cal because we're on the bye this week, but a full slate of games in the PSAC starting off Thursday, Halloween night game. Slippery Rock and Clarion, and then moving to Saturday, Seton Hill and Edinboro at noon, Lock Haven, Westchester at noon, IUP Gannon at noon, Bloomsburg Shepherd at noon, Kutztown Millersville at noon, and then East Stroudsburg and Shippensburg at 1 o'clock. So, Coach, enjoy the week, enjoy the little bit of rest. I know not a lot of rest, but we'll be back next week to break down Edinboro and, again, everything with another game in the conference, the road and things that are happening will be a little bit more clear. We'll talk about those because I know you love looking at standings and graphics and everything like that. So
there we go.
For Coach Dunn, I'm Gary Smith. You're watching the Gary Dunn Show right here on CUTV.